You are now listening to the Artist King podcast featuring interviews with professional artists, entrepreneurs, and art business educators. Artist King's mission is to fuel the passion and build the business knowledge of the artists to further their success in the art industry. We want to hear your suggestions and comments and subject ideas to discuss in future podcasts. Please send an email to podcast@artistking.org.
Welcome to another edition of the Artist King podcast. My name is Daniel Flores, aka DTM, and I am your host. This week, Artist King welcomes Eric9, an artist of multiple talents like web design, illustrations, fine art, and murals. Basically, his art is everywhere, including album cover art most recently for the Beats and Lyrics to Go series, a mural unveiling August 16th at the Star Community Bar, and an upcoming art exhibit with Dubelyoo titled Villains vs. Heroes. I've had the pleasure to sit with Eric9 for a few minutes when he shares some of his experiences as an artist, growing up a creative person, and challenging himself in each new art project he tackles. Check out his current work and whereabouts at his website, Eric9.com. That's spelled out ERICNINE.com. And follow him on social media to give him a shout out. Instagram, Eric_9. On Facebook and Twitter, he is Eric9, one word. So welcome to another episode of Artist King podcast. This is Dan the Man, and I'm sitting here with Eric9 Lopez. How you doing, Eric?
Excellent. How about you?
Always great, and I'm glad that you're here. Thank you very much for coming.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
So tell us, we know your name.
Yep.
And it's somewhere in this question, in the answer to my question, you're gonna tell us where the 9 comes from.
Right.
But tell us where you're from and what you do.
My story starts in Brooklyn, New York. That's where I was born. And I'm an artist. That's what I do. The name is Eric9. The 9 has multiple meanings. The original meaning was from Galatians 5. It's 9 fruits of the Spirit, certain like personality attributes that reflect God, types of things that I really want to reflect in my life. And but also 9 is the number of completion. There's just tons of good stuff I found out about that number after the fact. So I could change the answer every day if I wanted to when they ask me where the 9 comes from. But yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. But yeah, I was born in New York. I went to elementary school, junior high, and high school in Florida.
Okay.
And a little bit of college in Boston, and I've been in Atlanta now for 10 years.
Wow.
So, and I love this city.
Yes.
It's been very good.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So you went to school in Florida,
yeah,
but you're from New York. At what point did you feel the art?
Before school.
Mm-hmm.
I was drawing, I was painting like before kindergarten. I think my first like memory of, the first memory of me doing something was, I think my parents used to watch reruns of Happy Days.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I did the Fonz riding his bike, jumping some cars.
Okay.
And I watercolored it.
What?
Yeah. And then my mom put it on the fridge. And it was like, it was that one thing that my parents were always like, oh, you did a good job. So it just, kind of clicked early in my life, and even in school, real young, like, man, always my stuff was kind of like highlighted. And so I was like, okay, I'm good at this, so I'm gonna run with it,
Mm-hmm.
So Basically, I've been drawing and painting all the way through high school. I went to a magnet school for visual arts. I was already taking like college credit courses in 11th grade.
And that's in Florida.
And this is in Florida. There was a school in Lakeland, Florida, Harrison, that I went to for 10th and 11th grade. Then my senior year, I quit that, went back to the town where I lived. For Harrison, the art school, I had to take a bus every morning. It was like an hour and 20 minutes just to get to school, do school, and take that bus all the way back. So
that's like like people at rush hour going to work.
Right. So I would just be passed out in the bus on the way there and back. I was just napping. But, by the time my senior year came around, that started getting old to me, and I started getting into girls, and I decided to just go back to like regular high school, and I still kind of don't know if that was a good choice or not, because really that might have been that time period in my life was probably the only time in my life I didn't draw. I pretty much put it on the back burner a little bit and just started getting into trouble, honestly, like just hanging out and trying to find myself in different ways. But art's always been there. I've always, I used to come home and draw my own comic books, similar to how you did coming up. And I still got folders of like, I got this like 23-page book I did where I just took all the characters, so I would have like Batman fighting Wolverine, and then they would fight, and one of them would fall off the building. Just so happened that Punisher was down there, and like this is crazy, yeah. So so I mean that's pretty much. There is no starting point. I've always been drawing, so.
Very cool.
Yeah.
When you were creating these comics, you did it because you liked it and you enjoyed it.
Yeah, escape from reality. I'd rather do that than watch someone else's ideas. And even collecting comic books, I never really followed any comic book for the story. Most comic books I wouldn't even read unless it was a dope ass like piece of art. And then I would say, oh, let me see what's going on. I was always just about the visuals, and comic books would be hot for a few months, and then when they switched the artists and I didn't like the artist, on to the next one.
Yeah, that's right.
So, I'm a big Jim Lee fan. There was a few in there that had a big influence on me. But man, honestly, my bigger influence was cartoons. Like, maybe because I didn't have to read them, I don't know. But I was just really into cartoons really hard, like G.I. Joe, Transformers, He-Man, all that kind of stuff. Influenced my art a lot.
The He-Man, that was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Because I like drawing muscles.
Yeah, and the anatomy, yeah.
And I like skulls.
Yeah.
So
Skeletor,
yes.
Can't go wrong.
Yes.
Castle Grayskull.
Yes.
Yeah, still very powerful imagery there, Cannot go wrong with that. So yeah, man. I mean, all that stuff. It's funny because all that stuff kind of came back as I got older and wanted to get back into the fine art thing. All that stuff kind of came back into my life and was very useful for motivation. Just like, well, I guess I'll get to that. Before that, like, okay, I graduated high school.
Because I was gonna ask you. But
yeah,
go ahead.
But yeah, let's try to keep it. Let's try to keep it at time. If you let me, I'm a scatterbrain. If you let me, I'll.
Okay.
It'll turn into some kind of Pulp Fiction film here where you're going back and forth all over the place.
All right.
But so high school, I let go of the pencil for a little bit and started messing around with music. Like I said, I was just kind of doing my own thing and up to no good or whatever. Eventually decided to go to college, and I think at that point is where I made a decision where, okay, I could either do the fine arts and draw and paint and try to be one of the million, one out of a million that get lucky and actually make a successful living out of it, or I could do graphic design, which I know there's money in that. So I think I made that decision at that point, and I was like, let me just do the graphic design thing.
Get a job.
Because let me get a job. Let me learn this Photoshop thing, and let me just get into this advertising game. And so that's what I did. I went to school for a while at the Art Institute in Fort Lauderdale, and then I went to another school in Boston. Same thing, advertising. First time I tried to move to Atlanta, while I was still in Florida, I messed around and got on house arrest for a while. So I had a lot of time to just kind of reevaluate what I was going to do with my life. And it was like the week that I got out off of house arrest, a friend of mine offered me a job in Atlanta, repairing and delivering car stereos. So I came up to ATL. I was here for about a year, man, just trying to make it happen. Long story short, like the guy I got the job with ended up just skipping town, went back to Jamaica, and I was like homeless for like almost a month. Like I would break into this warehouse where I used to work to sleep. I had to break into the apartment I got evicted from to take a shower. And it was some really rough times, but I'll tell you what, man, it was fun. It was an adventure, and and I look back at that, man, and I don't regret it. I don't really regret it at all, man. I really appreciate a lot of those memories.
A learning experience.
Yeah, and really like forcing me to be like decide, okay, how are you gonna make a living here, man? You can't, this retail stuff ain't gonna work. You can't go back to hustling. You're gonna end up, back in the system. I definitely didn't want to get I'm not going to get another house arrest. They're going to put me away,
Moment of truth.
Right. So I picked up a job making like $7.50 an hour delivering Dippin' Dots, driving a Dippin' Dots truck to the mall. Like it was bad. I pulled out the sketchbook a lot in those days, just drawing my thoughts down, really like a journal. I draw my journals. I don't really write as much in them. But anyway, making a few phone calls and having some good people in my corner, I had an opportunity to move to Boston for a job, and I figured I'd go ahead and get back into school and pick up the graphics and get back into the art thing, but more like geared towards advertising. So I did that. So I went to Boston in '99, I believe. Or early 2000 maybe, and I was there for almost 4 years. I was working at not originally, but I worked my way to finally get a job at an ad agency there, Arnold's Communications, what it was called at the time, and just to get my foot in, I was hired on the buying side, so I was assisting on buying like radio and TV spots. I learned a lot of like target market audience, just advertising strategy, how to like communicate and not only like say your message but get it where it really resonates, and how to repeat things. It was a lot of good knowledge there, a great experience. At the same time, I was finishing up some school, and it was all good and great. So while I was doing that, my friends that I was kicking it with earlier that were still doing the music were still here in Atlanta, and things were going well for them. So I decided to move to Atlanta to do music. It had nothing to do with really pursuing art. So I came back in 2004. I got an internship at Mark Star Graphics. And recorded an album, Remnant Militia, little album and a mixtape. It just took me about less than a year to realize like, this music thing is fun, but I knew it wasn't going to take me where I needed to be. And in that process, I started realizing that where my true talent and even where my true passion was more on the visual side. And that's where my training was. So, while everybody's working on music, I'm over here just thinking about cover art. So I was like, so this internship I had was another, great experience. It was a kind of a culture shock in itself, because I come from this like, top 5 agency to work at a corner spot graphic design print service and all they did was flyers.
Yeah.
So I was just put onto the flyer game. I was a stranger to it before that, and they had me intern there for 3 months. They hired me. I worked there for like another 3 months. Shout out to Justin Huff. He was he owned it, and he was the one that kind of put me onto this whole flyer hustle. And so I worked there for a few months, and then I quit. Mainly because they kind of showed me the hustle, and I knew I could make more money and work less hours just doing it on my own. And I was already kind of hanging out again, and so it's just I picked up a few accounts, and basically 3 years straight I just made a living doing flyers, business cards, made a little name for myself, Eric9.com. I got your graphics, everything, brochures, whatever,
Right.
So that's kind of how it went. Business is picking up. I'm busier and busier. But as a graphic designer, your main responsibility is just making other people look good. Like you're completing other people's ideas. You're taking other people's photography or whatever it is, album, music, and kind of completing it, polish it. And I really wanted to have a way to express myself, my own ideas. A lot of times I'd be working on projects, and I'd be like, it'd be cool if you did it like this. And a lot of times I was, oh man, I wish they would have just did it the way I would have wanted to do it. And I just, so I wanted that. So I was like, whatever, I'll just make it happen myself, So again, I hadn't been drawing and painting consistently for a while at that point, but I was on this Photoshop Illustrator thing like every day full time. So I was like, well, let me figure out a way to get involved in the Atlanta art community. Because I got to say, man, out of all the cities I've been in, up and down the East Coast, including New York, and Boston especially, it's very hard to plug in to a scene because it's already established. It's just oversaturated. Like, so coming here to Atlanta and seeing how accessible everything was, and also just meeting real people, and there was a real support system here. Like, people encouraged each other to do it, whatever it was. Like, if it wasn't the music, the art, So I had I did a mixtape cover for DJ WonderRoot, Rest of Dilla. It was after he had passed away. Root knew Dilla's mom, and he was doing his tribute, and he reached out to me. Honestly, I reached out to him on some, yo man, this is what I do. If you need anything, get at me. And he came back a few months later. He was like, I got this project. If you want to do the cover, I was like, I'm with it. And it was Dilla. I was like, I'll do that for free. So anyway, long story short, I did it. Roots was able to put a lot of legs into this project, so a lot of people got to see it. It just so happened that year, Art Beats and Lyrics, Ma Duke, which is Dilla's mom, was available to come down to the show. So Roots put me in touch with Dubelyoo, which was really cool because I was already a fan of W. Like, since before I came back to Atlanta, I was kind of following him, and I was always been a fan of his work, and I remember seeing his stuff in like XXL, and I was like, dude, man, this guy's out there just drawing, and he's like, making moves and stuff. He did some stuff for like Echo, and and I was like, dude, I want to do this. So like, it's like Dub was like a mentor of mine, but he didn't even know it. You know what I mean? So he put me in touch with them, and dude, I was so excited, and so I got to put the Dilla piece. We did a big print of it, and I got to show some other work, but it was all prints. I'm just doing digital illustrations and, graphic design style stuff. So that was, man, I don't even remember what year that was, 2010 maybe? So that's the first time I was in Art Beats and Lyrics. That kind of was the pivotal point where I was like, okay, I want to do this art thing, and if I can make more money doing graphics, it doesn't matter. I'm going to do this art thing. Like, I want to do this. So from that point on, I was like, started getting back into it, really started just paying a lot of attention to what's going on. I'm always kind of more of a big picture type of thinker. So again, I was good at Photoshop. I was like, what can I do to put me on the map? And how can I stand out with all these other phenomenal artists in the city? And so I came up with this theme, the I'm a Beast thing that I did. And basically, I'm a Beast is it's photographs of independent creatives in the city. Doesn't matter what you do. You know, we got a chef, journalists, DJs, MCs, fellow artists. Just being in that industry, doing all of the flyers and events, and I kind of was pretty aware of who's who and whatnot, at least, you know, in the circle I was exposed to. So I just I linked up with my good friend at the time, now he's my business partner, Mike Moore, and we just started shooting people. I would take the photos back to the lab and literally turn them into monsters. Like, Locksmith is a producer DJ here, turned him into a werewolf. So I had his whole mouth like protruding with the teeth. I did Stephanie from Coat Hangers, all-female punk rock band. Made her a vampire. That was a fun shoot because I had her biting on my neck and everything. So, you know, that was always a plus. Think of another good one. Ale, which was another good friend of mine and now also a business partner. Ale Sharpton is a freelance journalist, and I took him. I got all these sheets, tore these sheets up, wrapped him up as a mummy, dope ass like mummy. We had the fan blowing, so and all of these pieces all correlated with what they did, like beer. Then this is all stuff I found out as I'm doing it, like where beer originated from. It's like some ancient Egypt stuff. So we had like the pyramid inscriptions and stuff in the background, and then Dennis would help me by kind of telling the story. So each piece came with a write-up on the artist and the story. So there was some content to it, you know, and that took off, man. Like, I didn't expect to get so much love off of that, but and also it's kind of a little bit of strategy because I was using people that already had followings. So as I added a new person, I was exposing myself to their following. Yeah. And it was just a good move, man. I did that for like 3 years, and it really like got me to where I needed to be. Opened up a lot more opportunity for me to do whatever I wanted to do next, you know. And also like really catapulted my business. Like now I'm busy. Like really busy. Like I actually had to make a real schedule and yeah, you know,
the grown up thing.
Right. I was like, yeah, exactly. Like I couldn't be like, nah, sorry, I can't hang out today type shit. So yeah, man, you know, again, a lot of this just goes to the city and the people in the city. Like, just a good support system here, man. Like once you do it, you show and prove, people, you know, it's not so these little circles, you know, they share. You know, it's not like people try to click up too much here. Like, it's a lot more open.
And so, I'm a Beast was a campaign, kind of a coming out campaign for you.
Yeah.
And you using other people as a vehicle. Right. There's nothing wrong with that. Just it's a good strategy.
No, that's all it was a strategy, and it was also good. It was very true from the heart. Like I wanted to give something back to the city and to these individuals that inspired me. And I mean, these are the same people that pay my bills, you know. A lot of the people I included, like DJ Kemet, you know, I've done a lot of work for him. Same thing with WonderRoot. Me and him still work till today. Like when he has something significant on his plate, he'll come to me and we'll hash out some ideas and make it happen, you know.
Very good. So then where does your art come in?
I think because I was doing the I'm a Beast thing, and I just don't. I'm not one of those type of creatives where you find something and you just stick with it forever, you know? Like, that's my little pet peeve. Even with some of my favorite artists, there's some artists I absolutely love, but I just can't understand how they just find that one niche and they just stay there, you know what I mean?
It's not for you. It's
not for me. So with the I'm a Beast thing, it was running its course. I still have some. I got like maybe 5 or 6 that I haven't even published.
Yeah. They're already shot.
That are shot and halfway done. Maybe I'm just not all the way happy with it quite yet. So there's a chance I might bring back the Beast, you know?
Yeah, we need to do one with me.
No doubt. Dude, I am so serious. like I really want to do one like and just have art I'm a beast thing. But another thing before I move on from the I'm a beast thing, the T-shirt I did was with the big fangs on it. Shout out to Four Eyes. That was a collaborative idea with me and him. We used that for one of his mixtape things. But that T-shirt thing jumped off. Like we sold 600 of those things like in 1 year, and it just another thing opened my eyes to there is there is options here. I can create something and sell it and keep that money. And it doesn't have to be work for hire. It's work that I create, opportunity I can create. So I did Art Beats and Lyrics again. I'm a beast. I just didn't want to do it again, and in this process with I'm a beast stuff, and also me just continuing to branch out, I formulated a little crew by introducing Mike Moore, my photographer, to my good friend Al Sharpton, Dennis Byron, and the three of us just came up with this idea like let's do this little productive effort. Call it Always Open. Basically means that we're always open 24 hours a day. That's kind of the obvious one, but more so always open as far as just creative solutions. There's an answer to everything. And a lot of times the first or second answer ain't the best answer. It's just don't be scared to just take it around the block a few times and really look at everything from every angle, and don't no walls on the building. It's just we move like water. So in doing that, I had the last I'm a Beast show I had. Second to last I'm a Beast show. I called it The Second Killing. We had that on Edgewood, and I was fortunate to have Hebrew Brantley come, and it was me, Sean Knight, Flux, and Hebrew Brantley. Hebrew showed a few pieces, and he also did a live mural there, a live piece. Okay. And that was my first introduction. Like Hebrew was around. Him and Mike have been friends forever, and Hebrew was around since the first show, I'm a Beast, and I knew he was a painter. I knew he was an artist. I knew he had pieces around the city, and I knew he was living in Chicago, but I had no clue what or where this guy was at. So when he came and did the show with me, it really just opened my eyes to like, okay, this is not like just make a living, but like there's a real resurgence to this like street art. There's a real resurgence, this real demand for artists that could tell this story and have, a unique style and whatnot. So, I gotta say that he was a huge influence just on me getting away from the computer. At my own show, between talking to everybody, I spent half the time watching him throw this piece up, and I swear to God, like in 2-3 hours, this dude just made this monstrous and I was just amazed, and I was like, dude, and he made it seem like what I do. Like I don't necessarily like doing things that I have to try too hard at. I just like doing things that I like to do, Right. And that's exactly what I got from it, and that was it, man. I started just painting after that. I was like, whatever, dude, I'm about to just paint, and so I just started just going in. I didn't, obviously I went to school in high school, and I kind of had this coming up technically. Yeah, I was not like a complete rookie, So it didn't take me long to get my bearings or whatever. But I spent well, here's a good example. We did this show in August, and then 2 months after that, almost 3 months after that, I did another I'm a Beast show. This one was at Sweetwater Brewery. I had over 500 people come out to that show, and I was like, I'm going to do live painting at this show. So like in that small little 2-3 months period, I was already doing it, and I was already, I'm confident enough just to go out here, and I painted this big fish because it was Sweetwater Brewery, trying to keep it to the theme. And Michi came out. We had Sean Knight at that one too. So I got to paint with Meech, and Jeremy Ray, another good friend of mine, came out and helped out. But that was it, man. At that point, I just jumped in it. I kind of put I'm a Beast on the back burner for a second, just because my passions were more like, let me show my hand skills now. that's where it started. And since then, I spent way more time in front of a canvas or drawing or whatever than I do on the computer, which I'm really happy with right now. You know, I've been involved with One Music Fest for the last 3 years, and I'll be there this year too, September 13th. We were out there last year.
Yep,
yeah,
we were, and I'll be there again too.
Dope. Yeah. So, you know, so even out there, I was doing live painting. Trying to remember off the top of my head the first like show that I was showing stuff, art. Yeah, pause this one because I have to. I'm trying to remember. So you had the salon.
It doesn't have to be a straight chronological.
Yeah, I don't. You know, honestly, I don't even really.
This is not an interrogation. Like,
yeah,
you don't have to give me
you're not gonna,
an outline. Of
you're not gonna pull out the sheet and say, well, you know, you said this.
You missed out. Yeah, you missed out here.
No, I honestly don't remember when it was the first time I actually pulled out, like, you know, framework and showed it. It must have been Art Beats and Lyrics.
Artist King programming is made possible by Bucom.com, VelocityScreenprint.net, Binders Art Store, the law offices of Deborah Gonzalez Esquire, Burnaway, C4 Atlanta, WonderRoot, Atlanta Tech Village, and listeners like you.
Where does your style of painting come from? Because it looks wild, abstract, intricate, busy, dirty, and clean.
Yeah.
Like all at the same time, you know.
I think you just summed it up right there.
Yeah. And I'm looking at that piece behind you, which our listeners in the Artist King podcast cannot look at. But check out your website. What is your website address?
Eric9.com.
Okay.
And the 9 is always spelled out, N-I-N-E. So
okay, so Eric9.com. You can see more of his art.
Yeah.
But this piece right here is a woman, and it's just busy. Like, where does the style come from? What does it mean?
This particular piece was I did live painting at an event with Kemet, DJ Kemet, and you know, I painted 3 hours, and it was, you know, kind of it wasn't here, but it was just inspired off of the event, music, this girl dancing. But then I took it home and worked on it for like a week after, and that's what you're looking at now. So that's where it's like a lot more detailed. But as far as like my style, it's really just the reaction of being into graphics for so long.
Where everything's clean and
everything
order.
is clean. It's easy to make things, you know, realistic. Everything's sharp. Everything has a purpose, you know. So with the painting stuff, I just wanted to express feeling more so, you know.
Yeah.
So, and again, I wanted to make something I didn't feel pressure. I'm not trying to be like, oh, perfect, you know. Nah.
I believe in that. I believe that art should come out how it comes out.
Yeah.
Not a Xerox machine.
Yeah, and exactly. And like, I've always had a thing where, why are you going to make a painting that looks like a photograph? You know, and I have a high respect for that. And there's, you know, and there's definitely, I mean, that's classic.
It's definitely
that's classic, you know, Renaissance. Like, there's real talent there. But for me,
we have cameras now. So.
Yeah, and also, and and then coming off the I'm a Beast thing, like I made everything look as realistic as possible. So just, you know, a reaction off of that with the painting stuff, I just went the opposite way with it. You know, I'm just trying to capture a feeling.
You're rebelling against yourself.
Man. I'm a Libra. I have to have balance.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, so I have to have balance. My good is only equal to my bad, and my high is only equal to my low, vice versa. So, yeah, man, it's just kind of being in that kind of more business, everything clean, functional. Now with the art, I get to just, I like details, and I will always include detail portions on the focal point. But the rest is free game, you know. Like I'm just trying to make something that's worth looking at more than once. That's really, my goal. So I spent a good 2 years straight just painting, just getting my skills. I didn't even know my style, I honestly, like, maybe the beginning of this year is where I was like, okay, I got this, and like I actually found something that doesn't look like nobody else's stuff. That's real important to me. I just so many like artists out there that will be like, I see where he got that from, or this dude is a clone of this dude, and so it was really important before I even really put myself out there as far as being a painter or something, to find my own style. And I have not only found that, but I have a few approaches that work for me now. So I have an idea of how to accomplish what I see on the canvas. You know what I mean?
Got it.
So yeah, man, it's been a blessing. I've had a handful of shows. The last show I did was a salon Modelo over there in Highlands. They hit me up, the owner's wife, and she was like, man, I'm a fan of your work. We would love to have your pieces at the salon. And I was like, cool, let's do it. But let me have an opening there, make a little to-do about it, just to really milk the opportunity. Yeah. And so we had a little opening there. I showed 20 pieces, man. I sold more than half of them the first day. And so that's really encouraging.
Yeah, I think I saw that. You were selling that in the same night.
Yeah, man, I sold a handful. I actually sold 3 of them before the show. Wow. So I mean, I have some collectors. I give them the sneak peek of the art, just because they're consistent.
Yeah. So
they get first dibs, That's one reason I brought this out. I got to ship this one out to Florida. So I was like, let me get this last little picture of it, But yeah, man, like the art thing is really like picking up. People seem to be receiving what.
You're a full-time artist.
Yeah, no, I've been full-time since 2000. I've been full-time for 8 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that because I quit my job and went freelancing when I found out that I was going to have a son.
Oh, okay.
Because I was like, I was not getting paid enough, and there was no ladder of success where I was at that time. And I was like, man, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make this happen. And so every time, my son just turned 8 2 days ago.
Happy birthday,
Happy
son.
Birthday,
What's his name?
Desire.
Desire.
No, Sire.
Sire.
Yeah,
okay.
it's Eric spelled backwards, CIRE. So,
the Libra part. The balance.
There it is, right? He balances me. But every time we celebrate his birthday, I always got this little thing in my back of my head, like, man, it's another year that I'm doing this, and I'm fortunate. God's been good. Yeah.
Congratulations, brother.
Man.
That's hard work.
Yeah, and it keeps going, man. Things are keep proceeding to the good. We have with my team always open. We have a lot of great stuff coming up. A lot of opportunities for me. Not only for me, but we're trying to, bring some real tasteful art shows to the city. We brought Hebrew Brantley back for a solo show last year at Lowe's Hotel. We had over 1,500 people come out to that. We've been working with a handful of other artists, just pretty consistent. In August, we were able to get a wall for Hebrew, that big wall on the side of the sound table. So he's going to be doing that at the end of August. Yeah. And we'll make a little event out of that so people can come out and actually watch it and, enjoy it. But
is the info to these shows coming up on Eric9.com?
Yeah. I would, if, I post most of my stuff on Instagram.
Okay.
Which is ERIC_NINE.
Okay.
So like if you want to see my art or sketches or whatever, I'll post most of that stuff there. But on Facebook, I keep people updated with like events and same art and stuff. I'm updating my website now, so you definitely can check out stuff there. But I gotta kind of catch up.
Yeah.
With what's going on there, and then we also have alwaysopen.com, which is event based.
Okay.
And outside of events, we also do design work, promotion work. I just spent the last 2 days drawing a storyboard for a video for a female group that I believe Usher is doing like a cameo in and stuff. So I'm still doing the graphics, like I mentioned, storyboard, whatever. My heart and my hands, if they just want to paint. Like, I just love this storytelling thing right now, And what I'm most excited about is this upcoming show with W, which I had mentioned earlier, how much of an influence he was to me, and always had him kind of on a pedestal. And so to be able to reach out to him, and like me and him are actually friends now, we talk on the regular, but to be able to do a show with him is like a real special accomplishment to me,
Cool.
So we have a show coming up in the beginning of August, called Heroes. Well, if you ask him, it's Heroes versus Villains. If you ask me, it's Villains versus Heroes. So I'm doing villains, and he's doing heroes.
Okay.
And the whole superhero thing has become so mainstream. It's almost, it could be kind of gimmicky if you let it, but with this, we're definitely being a lot more conceptual with it, taking a lot of time to not only make an ill piece of art, but have a purpose behind it. I'm doing a lot of like research on origins and what motivates these villains. With this particular show, this will be like the first installment of a larger collection for me. I'm basically going to be working on villains definitely throughout this year, maybe even to next year. But and outside of the comic book world, I just went through the whole Soprano series. I'm going to do some Tony Soprano stuff. I want to reach out and just really show a connection, because America, like, we are the villain, and even more personal, human nature. We are, without God or love, some sort of influence by nature, we are very selfish. You know what I'm saying? And it's easy for us to go into a villain mode. I almost think everybody has a villain in them. And kind of just exploring that and how they correlate, and why villains are so popular. Why are we so infatuated with the bad guy? Why is Scarface like? Why would a person rather have Scarface on their wall than Nelson Mandela? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot to build on in our society, just on that concept. So I'm excited about that. Plus, it's fun.
Yeah,
super fun. So
okay, cool. Yeah. So everything is good. I like it. Yeah. So for updates on upcoming shows,
the shows. Just follow me, man, on whatever you can follow me. I'm posting everything everywhere. So again, Instagram is at Eric ERIC _ NINE. Okay. 9. Facebook and Twitter is just /Eric9 at, same thing, ERICNINE. And alwaysopencreative.com is the company site, and we only update that with events. So we have recurring events at Lowe's Hotel. We have basically 1 to 2 events every month for the rest of this year. Oh, wow. So we'll be busy, yeah.
Wow.
We're here making it happen.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, much success to you, brother.
Appreciate it, man.
And I hope to be in a show with you soon.
Oh, no doubt. You know what's going to happen. Yeah. Yeah. No, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, seriously. Man. How many children do you have now?
Just I got 2 boys.
Oh, 2?
Yeah, 2 boys. Snap. Yeah, 8-year-old and 4.
Okay.
And, actually, he just turned 5. So, yeah, man, they keep me on my toes, keep me motivated. You'd be surprised at what you can accomplish in a day with the right motivation.
Yeah, yeah. Well, give them pencils and markers.
Oh, man, the little one's already on it. He's actually, man, it's funny, man. A few of my pieces, what I do is I'll put some colors down, and I let them go in on it, and then I paint over it. And so you'll see, like, some cool little, like, childish stuff in the background, and, yeah, it's, like, straight from a child.
There you go. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you for your time, Eric.
Man.
I appreciate you stopping by and talking to us. And I do have one last question. To any upcoming artists that follow your work and want to be like you one day, what do you have to say to them?
That is a good question, because really that was a motivating factor for me to come out here and talk. I wanted to encourage, because I wish a lot of stuff I had to find out on my own. I'd never had someone no one in my family, nobody was in the business, so I kind of discovered it on my own. But I would say the first piece of advice maybe would be, know yourself. Find out what your true passions are and stick to that. I spent a lot of time doing a lot of other stuff, chasing money, and, all that did benefit me, but honestly, if I could look back, I could have just stood doing graffiti from the jump, But yeah, find yourself, man, and what your real passion is. The key is to find something that you're going to do for free, something that you'll stay up all night to do for no one else but yourself. If you can find that and you actually are good at it, then nothing can stop you, The second piece of advice would be surround yourself with people that are better than you.
Yes.
Do not hang out or follow or waste time with someone that's slowing you down. Whatever it is that you're trying to do, find someone better than you. Find someone that is at where you want to be, and that's where you need to invest your time, and that's where you need to research. And it's just a game. Show and prove, man. And you always got to be better than the last thing you do. Mm-hmm. There's no sideways. There's no going sideways. It's always up. You always got to keep improving. And that's what I've done, man. And I, like I said, man, God is good. The city's been good to me. And I think that's like the key points right there, man. Just,
very good.
Yeah, know what you want to do it. Find someone better than you.
Yeah.
And beat them.
Beat them. Yeah.
And when you beat them, find someone better.
That's right. Keep rolling. That's right. Cool, brother. Well, thank you very much for your time, Eric.
No doubt. All right, bro.
Appreciate you, man.
If you're enjoying the Artist King podcast, then please consider leaving a shout out on iTunes, Spreaker.com, or StitchRadio.com under Artist King. For more information on the subjects discussed in the Artist King podcast, please visit www.artistking.org.
This has been an Artist King presentation, and I am your host, DTM. Thank you for listening, and see you next week.